Hey guys, it's Todd here again with HobbyLink Japan, and it is time again for another review of a brand new HG kit, this time from the Universal Century line. And this is none other than the Messer from Hathaway's Flash, I believe the name of that new anime series that is coming. I believe that's what it is going to be called. So I think this is also the same series that we got that Penelope Gundam from last year. So since that was another kind of really large kit in the HG line, this kit is also quite substantially larger than other usual HG kits. Alright, so before we get into talking about this kit a bit more here, just want to remind all the viewers out there, please be sure to hit that subscribe button below. Every last subscriber definitely helps us out. Alright, so yeah, this is my favorite style or kind of kit. I'm a really big fan of the larger style mobile suits, not really so much a fan of the really skinny, completely anorexic type stuff, and that, even though it's not a Gundam, that definitely includes the Evangelions. You can definitely see there's quite a difference between this and one of those Evangelion things. Those things are just completely skinny, just no meat to them at all. And this guy is a real junker. So he is quite big. He's got a lot of meat on his bones. So let's actually, since I keep talking about this size here, I guess this is a good chance to kind of show it off, because I've brought back a few friends just to kind of show off just exactly how large this guy is. So let's take a look here. This is the Revive RX 78-2 Gundam. So you can see he is quite a bit smaller. So this is HG, so both of these kits are going to be 1/144th scale. So just see the side of those two standing side by side right there. You can just definitely see just how much larger this Messer is compared to that RX 78. Just completely gigantic. We'll wait for it to spin around here a little bit again so we can see that nice side view showing off just that crazy size difference between these two kits. And there we have it. So yeah, he's really a head and shoulders above the other guy there. So quite big. Alright, but let's remove the RX 78 here. But let's have a look. How does it compare to, say, another larger kit that is going to be in the same scale here? So I have also brought with me today my absolute favorite kit in the real grade lineup, even though it was released a few years ago and we've had other newer real grade releases since then. This kit still remains my favorite real grade release today, and yes, it is none other than the Sazabi. So actually you can see, even though the Messer is quite a big guy, he's quite a real chunky guy, actually the Sazabi, even though it is the same scale, the Sazabi still reigns supreme in terms of height. And of course, when I mean reign supreme, not in total height, because of course we've got like the Neo Zeong, and there's definitely other 1/144th scale kits that are going to be quite a bit bigger than both of these guys. But yeah, comparing the Sazabi to the Messer, Sazabi is still a bit taller, still a bit bigger, but if you know just how large the Sazabi is, then this is really going to give you quite a nice idea just how large exactly this Messer is. And definitely, if you have not bought or built that real grade Sazabi kit, then this is something else that you really should buy at least one. Throw it in your cart, your next order. Give this guy an order, because he's a great build. It's a great kit. It's still solid even 2 years. I think it was 2 years ago that it was released. Still 2 years after it's released. Just absolutely my most favorite real grade kit. He just looks spectacular sitting on my shelf at home. Probably not even just in terms of real grade kits alone, but one of my absolute favorite kits released to date, no matter what grade, no matter what scale. So quite the praise from me for the Sazabi. I just love that suit. So let's have a look at one last comparison. This is something that I reviewed recently. It is not a Gundam kit, though. This is from the Sakura Wars game, and this is the, what were they called again? Mugens, I think these were called the, yeah, Spherical Striker Mugen. So one of the things that I was commenting on when I was reviewing these Mugens was just that these guys are also kind of little chonkers, but you can see even though he is a bit thick, he's a bit wide, he got a nice thick body there, nice thick legs, still the Messer kind of quite towers over that Mugen kit. But I still love that Mugen kit. It still looks beautiful. I still love the style of that thing. So that's another one that definitely you'd want to order, even though it's not Gundam, just because of how great it looks. So, okay. So that is going to be the 3 different kits that I'm going to kind of compare to this Messer here, just to kind of give you guys a great idea about the size of this guy here. So let's go ahead and remove my Mugen here. Quite a beautiful kit, isn't it? Just quite awesome. I love the Mugen. All right, so let's actually start looking at the Messer itself. So the Messer, in terms of colors, he's got those kind of more palish type of reds going on. He's got those nice kind of light browns. He's got the yellows, the grays for the frame and the gun. It's kind of a quite earthy tone in terms of the colors for this unit, and it looks quite great. It's not very flashy, but it's one of the things that I always keep saying about the Gundam kits. One of the reasons I really love the Gundam kits is just the wide range of colors that you get to build, you get to see, you get to work with when working with these kits. So it's a nice color, real realistic type of color, I definitely would say. All right, so you can see it does have some kind of panel lines engraved around the outside. Not as crazy as we just saw with that Real Grace Zombie kit, but there is definitely some molded in details on this kit that stand out, and that is quite nice. Not really exactly crazy, but I think it's a quite nice balance in terms of the level of details that they have on this kit, especially when you consider that this is just an HG kit here. And we can see the shield. The shield is coming around in the front, and that shield is quite large. There's really nothing special to write home about the shield, I do have to say. Although one trick feature for the shield, I don't want to pick him up yet. Maybe we can see as it rotates around. There we go. You can see it does have the 2 beam saber handles for this unit are going to be stored on the underside of that large shield. So it's always nice to have some place to store those beam saber handles so that you won't lose them in the future. Although the slots that they plug into on this kit, I will say they may be just a hair loose. So if you were to shake that shield really violently, I think those beam saber handles will pop out on you. So that is one thing to be cautious about when moving this guy around. And let's see, what else shall we talk about here? So this guy, another cool feature about this guy, even though it is a really large kind of mobile suit, in terms of like story-wise, this guy is really able to fly around quite a bit because they gave him a number of thrusters. I'm going to go ahead and pick this guy up here so we can look at these thrusters. So you can see on his back here, he's got these kind of 2 large type thrusters, and they are able to articulate up and down. So you can pose these a bit, which is quite nice. And not only do the thrusters articulate around, but this guard above them, this one also is able to articulate. So if you wanted to move them up, it's going to move with them, which is quite nice. And then underneath his legs there, on the back of his leg skirts, I think I'd want to call that, he's got 3 more thrusters per leg. So that's going to help him fly around quite a bit more. Let's move some of these back skirts out of the way. So yeah, I guess one of the other, I'll just go ahead and mention this now, but these back skirts, they have 2 points, 3 points of articulation that you can go. There's this, you can articulate this joint here and make it go pull out a little bit, and then you've got this part that's going to be able to rotate, and then you are going to be able to spin them on there too. So you've got this point for articulation, this point here, as well as that point there. So quite a bit of articulation going on in terms of this back skirt. But then underneath that back skirt there, you can see there are 2 more thrusters. So oops, this leg is not completely pinched together there. So yeah, he's got a number of thrusters on the back side of this guy, and that's going to really help him fly around in battle and what have you. So that is quite cool to see. So That's all I'm going to mention about that back skirt there and for his thrusters. So he also has his, I think it's called a long range beam rifle. The entire gun here is molded in the same gray plastic. If you would like to actually give it color like they show in the manual, you are going to have to paint this separately. The scope does not rotate. I think that was in a fixed position. So this guy doesn't really come packing a whole lot in terms of weapons and weapons and that type of stuff. On the side of his head, although they've got the little indents, but you can't really see them. In the story at least, these are supposed to be, I think, Vulcan cannons, kind of like a Gatling gun type of weapon on this 3 on each side of the head, so he would have an extra weapon up there. So there you have that. So speaking of those beam saber handles that were inside of the shield, which I mentioned about earlier, this kit also does come including 2 yellow beam sabers. So that is quite cool to see. And actually this manual really wants to point out, and this is something from the story, that those beam sabers are something that are borrowed from the RGM HE9 Jigen Type A. And I believe also that long beam rifle uses some parts from the Jigen as well. So if you want to check out more about the background and the history of the Messer, I'll put this kind of block here from the manual. You can pause the camera right now and read through that entire thing if you would like. So there it's talking about the beam sabers, and there it is talking about that beam rifle. And there it talks about that large shield. So there you have it. All right, so let's start talking about some of the articulation for this guy. So usually when you have these large style mobile suits, the articulation is nothing really to ever write home about. I keep saying write home about. I guess that's just my phrase for the day. But usually big size mobile suits, there's just not a whole lot to them. But this guy, they've actually given it a few extra gimmicks that help it in terms of articulation. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And as I usually do, let's start off by looking at his foot here. So you get this solid foot here, and it is able to articulate from side to side and front to back. And might be hard to see on the inside there, but here you can see it from the back. Maybe gotta stay on camera here. But actually it's a pretty decent range of movement, even though the foot itself, there's no kind of like independent toe or back articulation. So yeah, you got this kind of ball joint there, and then this ball joint also is able to move from side to side. So that works. It works quite well. And then we can move up to the legs. So I mentioned earlier about that back skirt being able to articulate out of the way. Let's see if I'm able to articulate that out of the way. All right, so there we go. So I just went ahead and popped off the shield in addition to that back skirt on this side. So we can see actually the leg does have a double joint to it, like most HG kits do these days. So it is able to actually articulate up quite a bit, but because those rear skirts are kind of a bit large, they will, if those skirts are in place, they might get in the way, but it is able to actually kind of get his leg up quite a bit, which is nice to see. All right, so in terms of movement for the upper part of his leg here, because you do have that back side skirt and that front side skirt as well, he is going to be a bit more limited in terms of articulation for the range of movement that he's going to be able to do for that upper leg. Actually, you can see, there we go. But yeah, being a larger suit, it is kind of to be expected, really. The front side skirts here, they are independently jointed, so you can, let me see if I can just pop one of these off so you can see it's got a little ball joint there, and this thing just pops right on. So there you have that. All right, so one of the main kind of gimmicks for this guy, which they showed off in the preview when he went up for pre-order, and they also mentioned it on the side of the box as well, is that he does have a slightly increased range of movement for his upper torso here. So let's take a look at that. So there you can see, yeah, that torso is able to kind of bend forward quite a bit. So it's got an extra 2 points of articulation on the inside of the torso to be able to get him to kind of bend forward a bit. So that's kind of quite cool, something new for this kit. So It works quite well if you just have to, for some reason or another, have this guy kind of be bending over. Not quite sure why, but it is there. Alright, so another kind of newer, or at least one of the other gimmicks for this kit is going to be for the articulation for his shoulders here. So let's go ahead and get a view looking top down onto the guy here, and then you can kind of see how his arm is able to kind of bend forward a bit more. So this arm is able to come forward a bit, and then he's going to be able to really reach that, just have a little bit of extra range of articulation for that front arm, be able to reach in front of him because he is so large. You will need extra space, I guess, to clear his front body there. So yeah, that is quite nice to see. And that is going to be, of course, for both sides there. And let's see, does it, I guess it does have a slight range of movement up and down as well. Alright, so for the arm, it is pretty much standard HG territory there. So you're able to bend the arm upward, then you've got that twist point there, you've got the double jointed elbow, which looks quite nice, and as you saw when I was pulling off the right hand with the rifle earlier, it's just your standard kind of ball joint for the wrist. Alright, let's pop on his other wrist here. So actually, yeah, now speaking about his hands, this kit comes with a total of 3 different hands. So you've got the 2 closed fist type of hands, although it does have the holes, so he could be able to hold on to the beam sabers, 1 in each hand. And then you have the other trigger finger hand, which I had attached to his beam rifle there. So that is all you are going to get in terms of hands for this guy. And that's pretty much going to do it for the articulation on this guy. The head's just another simple type of ball joint, and because it is so large and so wide, you can't really turn it. You can turn it side to side a bit, but you can't really do a little bit up and down. Not a whole much to do with that head. And if you were to look inside of his helmet there, it might be hard to see because of the lighting there. You can kind of see it. So this is going to be one of the mono eye kits, so he's just got that one mono eye in the center there. At least I have placed it into the center. So I was just mentioning that mono eye, that is going to be one of the stickers that you are going to need to equip onto this kit, and there are actually a few other stickers that you need to equip onto this guy, and actually it's kind of cool. Number 1, this is going to be the mono eye, and you can see there are 2 unused stickers for that, and actually it specifically mentions this in the manual for the kit, that this kit includes 2 extras. So if for some reason, if you ever needed to pull off the one that you've equipped, then hey, you've got 2 spare mono eye stickers. Isn't that quite exciting? So you can see all these other yellow stickers that are on here, and we'll go ahead and take a quick look at where, just exactly where those stickers were equipped. Now on top of his shoulder here, you've got this pipe that stretches from one side to the other, and there's actually one on the other side, even though the other side of that pipe is going to be blocked by the shoulder piece. But yeah, you need to put the stickers on both sides of that pipe, and then on his face there for that nose, as well as the end of the pipe, that is actually, yes, that's a really thin type of sticker. And then this yellow piece here is also going to be a sticker, so you're applying all those yellow stickers onto pipes pretty much for this guy. And once you have them equipped, actually I think they look pretty decent. It's kind of interesting. I don't think, because this kind of piece is really so small, I kind of thought it was interesting, even though it showed on the box art that this part was supposed to be yellow. Being that this is an HG kit, I figured probably that's something that Bandai just expects. If you really want it to be yellow, then you're going to have to paint that yourself. But actually Bandai went through the trouble and gave us a sticker for that little tiny sliver on the helmet, and actually it looks quite nice, I do have to say. So I'm going to equip his gun back on here. So there's one more piece that came with this kit that I haven't talked about yet, and that's just going to be this simple gray piece here. So it doesn't have a slot on the underside to be able to plug in a action base. So if you want to have this guy displayed on an action base or a display stand, you will need to slot this in onto his underside there, and then that'll give you your hole for the action base. All right, so yep, there we have the ME02R F01 Messer Type F01, and he is quite a chunker. He's a nice big boy, and he's a good kit. I guess one other thing I forgot to mention during the review was this kit has no polycaps, so that is always a great thing when these HG kits have no polycaps. Then you don't have to worry about it kind of getting a bit loose over the years. So because he has no polycaps, he is actually quite a bit sturdier than the usual other kind of larger HG kits. So quite nice. So. And I just love the design. I always love the look of these larger style Gundam kits, so that was quite exciting to see as well. This is one of the kits that I've been looking forward to coming out since I saw it go up for pre-order. So if you were like me and if you're a fan of these larger style mobile suits, definitely be sure to get your order in for your Messer today. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for this look at the Messer. Please be sure, if you've lasted this long in the video and if you're not subscribed already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button below. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon for more reviews and more previews and what other kind of fun videos we do here on HobbyLink.tv. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again later.